On January 15, 1919, the bustling North End neighborhood of Boston was suddenly engulfed in a tidal wave of molasses. The collapse of a massive storage tank released over 2 million gallons of the sticky substance, causing death and destruction. Known as the Boston Molasses disaster, this bizarre and tragic event claimed 21 lives, injured 150, and left an indelible mark on the city. This narrative explores the events leading up to the disaster, the chaotic aftermath, and the lasting impact on industrial safety regulations.
The Purity Distilling Company, a subsidiary of United States Industrial Alcohol (USIA), operated a large molasses storage tank in Boston's North End. Molasses, imported from the Caribbean, was stored in the tank before being processed into industrial alcohol for munitions and other products. The tank, built in 1915, stood 50 feet tall and 90 feet in diameter, with a capacity of over 2 million gallons. From the beginning, the tank exhibited signs of structural weakness, including leaks that neighborhood children enjoyed collecting molasses from. Despite these warnings, Purity Distilling Company continued to use the tank, ignoring necessary repairs and safety measures. The winter of 1918 to 1919 was particularly cold, causing the molasses inside the tank to thicken and pressure to build.
On January 15, 1919, the temperature rose rapidly from the frigid cold to an unseasonably warm 40 degrees Fahrenheit. This sudden change caused the molasses to expand, increasing the pressure inside the already compromised tank. At around 12:30 p.m., the tank burst with a thunderous roar, sending a wave of molasses cascading through the streets at an estimated 35 miles per hour. The force of the explosion was immense. Pieces of the tank were hurled through the air, buildings were demolished, and people and animals were swept away by the sticky flood. The molasses wave, reaching heights of up to 25 feet, covered an area of several city blocks, trapping everything in its path.
The immediate aftermath of the disaster was one of chaos and confusion. Rescuers and bystanders rushed to help those trapped in the molasses, but the thick, sticky substance made movement difficult and dangerous. Emergency workers, including police, firefighters, and the Red Cross, fought valiantly to free victims and provide medical aid. The molasses hardened as it cooled, complicating rescue efforts and trapping people under a solidifying mass. Despite these challenges, heroic efforts saved many lives. Rescue operations continued for days, as workers painstakingly cut through the hardened molasses and debris to reach survivors. The cleanup process was arduous, involving the use of salt water and sand to break down the molasses, and took several weeks to complete.
The Boston molasses disaster resulted in the deaths of 21 people and injuries to 150 others. The financial and emotional toll on the community was immense, with many losing homes, businesses, and loved ones. The disaster prompted an outpouring of support from across the city and beyond, with donations and volunteers aiding in the recovery efforts. In the aftermath, public outrage and demands for accountability led to a thorough investigation. The inquiry revealed that the Purity Distilling Company had neglected proper maintenance and safety standards. The tank was found to be poorly constructed, with thin walls and inadequate rivets, and had not been tested for safety. The company had also ignored previous leaks and warnings from employees and residents. The disaster led to significant changes in industrial safety regulations. The city of Boston implemented stricter building codes and inspection requirements for industrial structures. The legal aftermath saw a landmark class action lawsuit against USIA, resulting in a settlement for the victims and their families. This case set a precedent for corporate accountability and the importance of regulatory oversight.
The Boston Molasses disaster remains one of the most unusual and tragic industrial accidents in history. The loss of life and destruction underscored the critical need for rigorous safety standards and corporate responsibility. As we reflect on this sticky catastrophe, we are reminded of the importance of vigilance and the human cost of negligence. The legacy of the Boston Molasses disaster lives on, serving as a powerful example of the need for continuous improvement in industrial safety and regulation.